now.
And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another JVS movie review. I know y'all not used to me saying that first. It's normally Sam.
I'm loving this, bro. This is awesome.
The way that we start these movie reviews off. But first, Sam, how you doing this evening, sir?
I am doing well. I'm looking at some craziness right now, but I'm doing well.
So today we are bringing you the latest Oscar contender and amazing performance from Mr. Anthony Hopkins. This one is called The Father. Sam, I'm gonna get you to read the synopsis right after you finish your cookie.
Absolutely. So this was directed by my man Florian Zeller, his directorial debut, and the synopsis reads: a man refuses all assistance from his daughter as he ages. As he tries to make sense of his changing circumstances, he begins to doubt his loved ones, his own mind, and even the fabric of his reality.
Now, I know that synopsis for some may be a little vague, and it kind of leaves holes on what the movie is actually about. The movie is about a man going deeper into dementia. Yep. And his mind playing tricks on him as he's trying to figure out what is reality and what isn't reality.
Yep.
So just so you have the groundwork of what this movie is about and why this is such an amazing performance by Mr. Anthony Hopkins. I'll say this first as a backstory. I screened the movie first. I told Sam, you need to find a way to screen this movie again. This movie is amazing. It is the best movie for me of 2020. And then Sam saw it. And then he came up with, well, we need to get together and talk about this because this is a lot.
Yeah.
He was a little confused about what was going on at certain parts of this movie. But first, Sam, I want to start with and asking you, how do you feel the film was shot from a first-time director at that?
I think that the iconography and the imagery that he used with most of the cinematography was amazing. Because one thing that I saw with this, I had looked at a film earlier last year called The Cuban, something a little bit similar. And basically it was a man that was going through dementia as well. And one of the things that kept on happening is he would recall back to his most precious moments. And then it would kind of be like it would fade and he would go back to doing this normally. And I love that transition, but it's like the slipping of a mind. This one, though, I haven't seen transitions like this and how naturally it go and the callbacks behind each shot and the verbiage as well as like the screenplay for it since Memento. Because I was kind of like, I was sitting there, I was like, what in the flip is going, what is Lucas having me watch? Because I don't know what's going on. I was like, I swear she was sitting there cooking this chicken. And then now she's going to sit there and go to the left and say, man, we ain't having no chicken. And I'm like, wait, no, I'm going to Paris. Like, no, I ain't never gone to Paris. I don't even have a husband right now. I was like, yo, what is really good? I was like, what kind of science fiction craziness? And that's the reason why I say that this was captured well, because for me as a critic to, not knowing the synopsis, not knowing the full story personally, to assess this, like I was like confused. I was like, maybe this is some science fiction mess. Maybe the world around him is literally, messing up. But then I was like, slowly and surely by the second act, I started to realize, wait, yeah, something's wrong. And but no, as far as to answer your question, I think it was brilliant cinematography, it was brilliant imagery, and I think that it's very smart in the way that it was crafted, because every single shot, every single scene is meaningful. So it's like if you go back and watch the film again, you're like, oh, that was what was going on. Like you can literally go back and put the pieces of the puzzles together. That's makeshift in his mind. And I have to, give him all the credit for that, because, yeah, I haven't seen anything like that in a long time.
Well, one of the best things for me of it, with this being a play translated to film, we normally see the same blocking you would get out of a play for the film. So it kind of gives away that experience of actually having a great film. I'm not going to name the films that do this, but there's a lot of films that do it and make the mistake of doing it. You could tell here he took his time and he understood that I need to film the actual acting performances more than stick with the blocking from the stage play of the father. And the way he does it, the way he sets up shots. As Sam said, the confusion that we are witnessing for a while, it takes about 10 to 15 minutes for you to catch on exactly what's happening, that you're seeing the confusion from the point of view of Anthony Hopkins. So you're seeing it as his mind is deteriorating. We're seeing it around us. And I think those shots are some of the best things I've ever seen. As Sam said, from one moment, we hear them talking about chicken. Then we hear them not talking about chicken because she's like, we're not having chicken for dinner. But then we see a completely different actress come in to play the same character. And at that point, we're noticing his mind is warped. He's forgetting people. He's forgetting moments. But as he's forgetting the moments, they're shooting them so beautifully that you just on the edge of your seat to see what happens next. And that's something that we don't normally get from first-time directors. This is where they normally make the slip up, and he didn't. It's like he took his time to make sure that every scene was shot properly. Now, normally we would go into the score, but I'm way more interested in going into the performances. Not gonna lie here. So clearly we would normally start with Mr. Hopkins first, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna start with Miss Olivia Colman and her performance in this movie. What did you think about her overall performance and just how she had to hold a lot of the things that's going on with her father together?
I think it was very dynamic. I think that's the best way I can kind of put it, because her character, we're figuring her out as much as we're trying to piece together what's going on in his mind. Because there's moments that, it focus in on her. It focus in on, what is she really given to this man? What was her relationship with this man? How broken is she really? Because a lot of times he kind of has his own, thoughts about who she is. And you can see over her face that she doesn't like that. She doesn't like him comparing the other sister to her. She doesn't like when he slips in and out of understanding and capability. There was a scene I think she played so well. I can't remember if it was actually a dream or she just thought about it or if it actually happened, when she kind of was like going to see what was going on with him. He was sleeping, and then she just kind of started to smother him with a pillow. And I was like, yo. And then when she slipped back into realizing, I was kind of like, man, she is going through hell and back right now. And it's kind of like, as much as it's sad to see the suffering he's going through, is equally as bad. And I think it's reflective from anybody that has family members or people that are connected to them that are going through this, how it has this ripple effect, especially in his character state, who had a lot of baggage with her dad. I think that, she had a very dynamic performance, because it was like, as important as his role is, hers was equally as important, because we having to understand her humanity through why she's doing these things, what she's trying to do, and her as a human being. Like, I mean, it was amazing. It was an amazing performance, and I think that she is right now. She's trying to hit the top. To be honest with you, like she's going for it.
Hey,
she's her performances, man.
Hey, she's right now the front runner for best supporting actress. I would almost, after I saw this film, I kind of question why supporting. This is a best actress performance. And as Sam pointed out, if you have families that go through dementia, family members or loved ones that go through dementia, the frustration that she feels is something that lots of people feel. Again, for the smothering of the pillow moment, it's a dream sequence, but it's her real feelings of her saying, I've had enough. I can't do this. I don't know if I can keep on and maintain this relationship with him while he is still pining for the daughter he lost, which unfortunately, because he has dementia, you're kind of getting the picture that was his favorite child. And that she was just the other daughter. And you see that throughout this entire film of him always pining over the daughter that he lost, but he doesn't understand that daughter is actually dead.
Yeah.
So she's having to not just cope with constantly being brought up again that she lost her sibling. She's also dealing with a parent who clearly sees her as secondary in his life when it pertains to his children. But now he's also losing his grip on reality.
Yeah.
So she's having to alter her entire life to make sure she can take care of her father. And it's that sense of not gratitude, the sense of just ownership of the situation that we see her go through in this film that makes it so powerful. Again,
Yeah.
if you go through this, I have had family members go through this. I currently have one going through it. Everything she did is feelings that come to mind when you're going through this, when you're having to sit with somebody, when someone's constantly repeating the same thing to you and you want to correct them, but you know it's no point of doing so because they don't understand what's going on here.
Yeah.
And just the compassion that she shows him at times when she is just having conversations with him. That's some of the most touching stuff you will ever see on film.
Yeah.
She nails it.
Yeah. The compassion, I think that's the key point, because it was like, even when she was frustrated, she never broke.
Mm-hmm.
She never broke. Like, even when she was like crying to the side, she still didn't break from her emotive yearning to help him in whatever way she possibly could. It just, by the third act, it was not much she could do.
Up until the point where that happens, where you have to, when you realize I can no longer handle this.
Yeah.
And that was another hard, touching moment when she had to come to the realization. I think it was when she was in bed with her husband.
Yep.
Or her boyfriend. Or I'm confused because he was confused on who this person was. When she was in bed with him, and you could see it then that she understood, I can no longer take care of him.
Yeah.
And I have to put him somewhere else where someone can take care of him. That is one of the hardest things a child will ever have to go through. The realization that, one, I can no longer help and support my parent, and I'm going to have to put their livelihood in someone else's hands.
Yeah.
That was a powerful moment in this film for her.
Yeah, I think that's a good segue too, because it was confusing initially, and I had to go and backtrack. I was like, man, who the flip are these men? Because it was my man that played in Sherlock, that plays Sherlock's brother as Mark Gatiss. They just kind of have him listed as the man. And then Rufus Sewell, he always plays a darn villain. He plays the role of Paul.
Man.
And so these are the same exact person. At one point, that's her boyfriend. At another point, that's her husband. But Rufus, honestly, there's one scene that he has with Anthony Hopkins. And when Anthony is talking to him, and this is how to mess me up. Because initially when we saw it, it kind of cut. And then it went back to like him kind of fading back from understanding of reality. So we didn't know where their conversation ended or began. Then we get to see that actually play out. And this man is like legit getting abused by this husband that's just fed up, but it's still wrong. And I was hurt by that joint, bro.
Yeah.
Because I was like, man, who are you? Like, I mean, granted, they got their own beef, but that's not your responsibility to sit there and do that to that man. I was hurt by that. And he played it. I mean, from a performance standpoint, he played it up. And Anthony, oh my gosh. When this man started kind of like fading back into tears, I'm trying not to get emotional now, but I was gone.
Yeah. That was at that moment, that's when the film broke me. Because as he's just sobbing there, and they don't show what actually happens, but you know what was happening there.
Yeah.
And it is gut-wrenching. That is, man, it's hard to describe without getting emotional, but that is the pivotal scene of this film where we understand that everything has gone too far.
Yeah.
Where the husband / boyfriend is fed up and he abuses her father.
Yeah.
But she's not there to witness it.
Yeah.
All she sees is her father breaking down. And because of his mental state, she doesn't know why he's breaking down. Yeah. So she can't put two and two together per se that he was abusing her father at that moment.
Yeah.
But speaking of that abuse, and speaking of that scene by Mr. Hopkins, what did you think about his overall performance in this movie?
Oh man, dude. Yes, it's one of those performances you can't really put into words. I can't even make it I can't compare it to anything because only somebody like him could play that way. Because not only was he, you know, tough as a person to deal with emotionally, just from the character and the process of how he was, in communicating with his daughter and everybody else. Like he was a jerk sometimes. Sometimes he was just very stern and to his own ways, set in his own ways. And then there were times where he was charming. There were times where he felt really uplifting and a joy to be around. But then, like, the torment that he was going through of not knowing what was really truly happening and questioning, everyone and everything. Because I think the moment happened when he was going to the bathroom to go look for his watch again. And then he came out of the bathroom looking for his watch, and he saw somebody just sitting there. And he's like, "Who the heck are you?" And she's like, "I'm your daughter. What you talking about?" And I was like, wait, what? Us as a viewer, we were confused. But for him, it had to have been insane. If I was sitting there talking to my wife, and all of a sudden I look back and I look at somebody and I see somebody completely different I've never seen in my life, and that's not my wife, and somebody's trying to tell me that that's my wife, bro, I would lose my mind. Like straight up, I would be angry. I would be frustrated. And all those different emotive reactions, he does it in spades, especially at his age. The man's 80 years old, right?
Yeah.
Like he's doing more acting than people that are vets that are in their 50s or 40s. Like I was like, he demolished this role. I haven't seen anybody do anything compared to this since Jack Nicholson in a certain movie that I can think of. But honestly, he was amazing. I don't even know how to put it into words, to be honest with you. I'm just giving examples.
I'll put it here. I'll put it for when I saw this. This is the best performance I've seen in at least the last 5 years. Definitely the best performance of 2020. When I saw it, and after the movie ended, the first performance that popped into my head to compare it to was There Will Be Blood with Daniel Day-Lewis. And someone who just dives into the role, and you're so captivated with everything that's happening with him. From the moments where he is the most vile person in the world with the things he says to his daughter, to one of the caretakers as she comes in, and he's the most charming person humanly possible, to him feeling threatened by this man who just happened to be in what he assumes is his house, because he still doesn't understand that maybe this is not his house, maybe this is his daughter's house. He doesn't understand. All he saw was a strange man there. He picks up a knife because he's going to kill him, because he don't know who this person is. And then you just see the fear at times over his face as everything around him is changing, but it's changing in an instant. So it's not changing over time to him. For us, we kind of at a moment we kind of understand it's changing over time, but for him, it's one moment to the next that everything is changing. And as that's happening, the way he switches his emotions from moment to moment is ridiculous. This is a masterclass on how to act. That's what Mr. Anthony Hopkins puts on in this film. Just a masterclass of showing you how to play emotions, how to play off other people's emotions, how to do all of that and still keep it consistent. Like through the whole time, even when we hate the person, we feel sympathy for him. When we like the person, we actually feel more sympathy for him, because we understand that he's just diving deeper into a world that he doesn't fully understand. And all of that works in spades to me in this movie. It just threw me off. This whole performance threw me off. I wasn't expecting this from this movie. I knew what the movie was about, but I wasn't expecting this performance. And when I got it, I said, dude, this is, I think I immediately text Sam, like, This is the best performance of the year. This is something you have to see. I can't fully describe why it's the best performance of the year, but when you see it, you'll understand why no one can be compared to this.
Yeah, it's interesting because once I got done watching the whole entire movie, I was filled with different range of emotions. I was confused, then I was hurt, then I was mad, then I was hurt all over again, then I was sad. But I never started to actually cry or well up or anything like that. When it got to the very last shot and the movie turned off and then it started to go and put the credits, all of a sudden as the credits are going, I'm sitting there looking at tears coming down. I was like, oh man, my mind is processing everything all at once right now. Oh shoot, I'm hit. And I think that this movie, that's what it does, man. Across the board, the acting is amazing, of course, but everything functions so well together. It was an amalgam of great performance, great translation from an adaptation standpoint. It was directed well. It was shot well. I love the score. Honestly, I really did.
We was about to get into that. I kind of figured you did.
I will talk about it, but dude, as soon as the credits started to fall, I was like, this movie, it just wrecked me. And part of me wants to go back and see the movie again to see the stuff that I missed. But I can't. I don't know if I can do that right now. I need some time.
Yeah, I'm not emotionally prepared to see this film again. But speaking of the score here, the score is the third actor in this film. The way they play it up, the way they every scene, every emotion that we see these characters go through is portrayed beautifully through this score.
Yep.
Now, Sam, out of all the movies in 2020, how would you compare this score to any of the other films you saw this year?
Oh man, why are you gonna do that? Why are you gonna say that, man? You look. Hold on. I got my whole list. I've been working on a top whatever list. The only man, it's only maybe one film that even comes a little close, and that is so that I can't even consider that. I can't consider that one because one of them is an old movie, and the other one, the score is too darn loud. Which we're not gonna name that.
we know because you said too loud. I immediately know what movie you're talking about.
We're not gonna name that one. I loved Minari's soundtrack. Honestly, I thought it was really beautiful, but it wasn't better than this because this took different tracks and floated the transitions with it. It wasn't just like somebody's like, oh, well, we're gonna go and take this and plop it in and it's gonna fit with this scene. Like, no, it almost felt like each scene had its own designed track or score. And that's hard to do. Like, I don't know too many, directors that would take the amount of time to do that. And I'm not sure who was the composer for this one, but I'm gonna say this: they might get a nomination. Who was the composer? I'm looking it up, y'all. I'm looking it up.
I'm almost guaranteeing, along with every other nomination this film is going to get, the composers definitely get a nomination for this film.
You think that they're gonna get cinematography?
There's no way they can't. The way the shots are set up, absolutely no way they can't.
I don't know, Lucas.
There's no way they can't get cinematography. Like, to me, this is almost as much of a sure shot for that as Pieces of a Woman was. Like, you can't. It's humanly impossible. The transitions are too beautiful in this film for it not to get that nomination. And so is the score. The score is amazing. Again, the last film that I felt this much like emotion about its score was Moon Knight. Like,
I can feel that.
Yeah, that was the last film when I saw it. I was like, dude, this, like, every chord, every moment is pulling at you. And that's what you feel when you're watching this. Like, every moment is pulling at me. I don't know which way to go here. When he gets upbeat and happy and the score rises with him, it's amazing. It's a scene where he's just talking to a caregiver that he doesn't, I don't think, fully understands, that's what that woman was there for.
Mm-hmm.
But he turns on the charm, and as he turns on the charm, he gets extremely happy, and the score gets happy with him. But then when a realization of the moment hits him, everything drops at once. And that there had me hooked and said,
Yeah.
wow, this is amazing.
Yeah, I found the composer. I don't know if I'm gonna pronounce his name right, but it's Ludwiko Indai. That's Einaudi. He is a he's an Italian pianist and a composer. I'm trying to look and see what other works they had. They didn't even put him listed on IMDb when I was looking for it.
Man.
And he might be going for that gold this year, to be honest with you.
I mean, clearly you're going to get some of the bigger names that's going to come into the category with him. But this is a film that it's a smaller film, but it has huge stars in it.
Ooh, you know what other score he did this year?
Which one?
It's a movie that you loved. It's probably your second. It's probably your second nomination for best film this year.
Which one?
Who's your favorite actress this year?
Oh, he did Nomadland?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, he clearly is getting a nomination this year.
One way or another.
I don't know for which film. I don't know for which film. And yes, Nomadland was my second favorite film of the year, right behind The Father. That is amazing.
So, in hindsight, you could pretty much guess what we gave the movie as a review number.
10 out of 10.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen often for me. I find reasons why films should get at least a 9.5 instead of a 10 out of 10. I couldn't find a reason to save my life here. This is a powerful movie. This is a tough movie to watch.
Yeah.
Again, if you have family members going through dementia, or if you just know people or want to know more about the disease, this is the type of film that will put you in a place of someone who's going through it. Yep. So you get that realization of what they go through, but also what their family members go through as they're going through this.
Yeah.
Whether it be regular dementia, or for a lot of people that don't know, dementia and Alzheimer's, while they're not the same disease, they share a lot of links to being the same thing. And a lot of these things happen the same way.
Yeah.
So when you're watching this, it is really hard, especially for a person like me, who's had multiple family members go through this. My grandmother passed away of Alzheimer's when I was a teenager. I remember these moments. I remember I've had conversations currently with family members going through this where it's, okay, I'm ready to go home. And the whole time we're in that family member's house. But in their mind, that's not where they're staying.
Not where they are.
Or asking for their child, who is a 40-year-old man, but they're thinking they're still a baby, and that's the baby that they're looking for. Yeah. So this played a lot for me in the way I felt about this film, and why I say I am not emotionally prepared to watch this movie again. But I understand how great this movie is. I understand the amazing performance by the actors in this movie. This is best movie of 2020. That's all. That's the best way I can put it. Hands down.
Yeah. And again, for me, I've seen movies, tiptoe around, like, you got this one character's got dementia. They use that as a sympathetic device. This movie does not do that. They unapologetically put you through everything that this is really feeling like in the worst way possible, and they make you see it in the way that the person that's going through sees it. And again, I saw the movie The Cuban, that was Lou Gossett Jr. He had an amazing performance. The movie structurally was not sound. I did like some things from that, but this this is the amazing understanding treatment of this. And we got to talk about how this was translated from where it came from. I'll let you bring that up as far as the surrounding coming from a play.
Yes, a dark comedy play at that.
It's crazy.
This was a dark comedy play named The Father. It opened up in London in 2014, then it opened up in New York in 2016. This play has been called one of the best plays of the last decade. It is an amazing show for anyone who's seen the play live. But you also understand how while the play is heartbreaking, they play it up even more in this film because the play has more funny moments in it than the film does. Because the film wants to plant you directly in the middle of what it feels like to have dementia.
Yep.
From a play standpoint, you're watching the character go through it and you're figuring it out with him. So I think that's where I give the credit to a first-time director to understand that, hey, I need to switch my view of how this should be shot.
Yeah.
Versus how it's better on a stage for it to kind of come across more as a comedy, as a dark comedy on a stage, versus in film, this needs to be a serious drama.
Yeah.
That's something amazing. Again, it doesn't happen too often. I want to say it's 2 other films that are really good films of this year that came out that both were plays that got turned into films. But as I'm watching them, I can clearly tell it's a play turned into a film. You can't tell that with The Father.
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. And I give all the credit to the director because he wrote, directed. This is directorial debut, but he wrote the play and he wrote this. And, you know, between 2012 and I guess you shot this probably in 2019 and 2018. Like this was, I've never seen anything like this as far as a transition from a play to this. Besides the One Night in Miami, what was the other one? Ma Rainey's Right Bottom. That's right.
And both of them feel like a play.
Yep.
While you're watching it, it feels like a play. It's structured, unfortunately, like a play. I think here he went out of his way to take away all the structures that would make it a play and said, I need to make this a film.
Yep.
And that's amazing. Because that does, again, Aaron Sorkin is the only person I know who's been able to pull that off and to make it work and take work of a play and turn it into a film. The Chicago 7, take a work of a play, turn it into a film, but make it feel like a film, because he understood certain elements of a play doesn't work on screen. And here, that's what he pulls off amazingly. He understood that close-up shots of Anthony Hopkins going through stuff may not work. For screen, for a play, it works perfectly fine. Projecting their voice works perfectly fine for plays, but for film, you need those quiet moments. Yep. Down to the point that even a sound mixing, which is something I don't talk about at all, even the sound mixing is great on The Father. And it's because of those quiet moments, those quiet steps that we see taken in this film that makes everything work. And you could tell that was someone who took their time from translating this from a play to a film.
Yeah. And one thing I'll say about this film in general, like this wasn't something in like March or, you know, May that was like advertised. And I was like, oh man, this is going to be amazing. Like, honestly, if Lucas hadn't have told me about this, I probably would have just been like, oh man, shoot, Anthony is an OG. He could act, you know, off of anybody and he can do his own thing. But I was kind of like, okay, well, I wasn't that pressed to see this, to be honest with you. And it's like, it's funny because in 2020, I didn't think there was going to be a movie like this, to be honest with you. I was like, well, we're going to look forward to 2021 to see something amazing and great from an acting standpoint and from a movie standpoint. And yes, I did enjoy Minari. I did enjoy No Man Land. I did enjoy the trial of Chicago 7. But for this to be something that wasn't well advertised or promoted or anything, there's some people that probably don't even know anything about this movie that we're talking about it right now.
Yep.
And this is going to most likely be, of course, nominated, but it might win for so many different categories. And I think my last question to you, Lucas, is this. Between this, No Man Land, and the Chicago 7, what do you think is going to, not what you want to win, what do you think is going to win?
That's hard to say. Right now, No Man Land tends to have the inside track for Best Picture. I think the Trial of Chicago 7 is going to be on the outside looking in. It's one of those films that is well written, extremely well acted, but it may have released too early. The Father, on the other hand, is something that it's going to get awarded for the acting performances. Anthony Hopkins, most likely, I don't see humanly possible how you give him Best Actor to anyone else at this point.
But what about Yaya? Oh no,
No.
I can't count him because
he's going to supporting.
Yep.
So there's no one who's Chadwick is going to be the sympathetic person for most people to vote for Best Actor, but comparing his Ma Rainey performance to this performance isn't fair.
No,
it's leaps and bounds better than Ma Rainey's Black Bottom's performance for Anthony Hopkins in this film.
Yeah,
and Best Supporting Actress. So I think they're going to award The Father for Best Supporting Actress and Best Actor. Nomadland is going to go away possibly with Best Actress and Best Picture. And Trial of Chicago 7 may walk away with Best Screenplay. I think because I'm not 100% sure if they consider it adapted from a play.
That's what I was about to ask.
So that will be the question if it's going to walk away with Best Adapted or Best Original. But it's going to be one of those because Aaron Sorkin is Aaron Sorkin and everything he writes normally wins. Something of that nature. So writing for that one, Nomadland is Best Picture. And this is Best Actor and Best Supporting Actress.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I know that makes a lot of people mad because it leaves out lots of Black people.
But look, hey, for a person that's seen pretty much everything at this point now, I haven't talked to you guys. I haven't even shared on my reviews or thoughts on Judas and the Black Messiah or anything else. Yeah, we'll get to that later. Right now, we're talking about The Father.
That's the Best Supporting Actor winner, most likely.
Oh, you think so?
Oh man, no one. Daniel sticks out in that movie, so most likely he'll win Best. Well, we'll talk about that when we do our Best of segment instead of focusing on his performance as we're talking about The Father. But
yeah, we might record something like our favorite top 10, not the best top 10, but our favorite top 10, and give y'all that. We'll probably have fun with that.
Our personal favorites.
Yes,
I'm pretty sure I got movies in there that none of you have ever heard of before. I've reviewed them here on JVS, but you'll never see them.
Never. All right, you guys. Hope you guys enjoy this spoiler-filled review of The Father. Go and check it out as soon as possible. We'll talk to you guys later. Keep it locked. JVS. We ain't gonna stop. Go and follow us in the description bar below on Twitter. Bye, guys.